In 1971, a psychologist at Stanford University ran an experiment that would become the most cited, most taught, and most referenced study in the history of psychology. You have almost certainly heard of it. 24 ordinary college students, a fake prison built in a university basement, half assigned as guards, half assigned as prisoners. And within days, the guards became so brutal, so sadistic, so drunk on power that the entire experiment had to be shut down after just 6 days. That story has been told in textbooks, documentaries, Hollywood films, and university lecture halls for over 50 years. It has shaped how we understand human nature, obedience, authority, and the capacity for evil that supposedly lurks inside every ordinary person. There is just one problem. It wasn't true, and Philip Zimbardo knew it. Let's start with what you were taught. The official story goes like this. Zimbardo randomly assigned students to roles of guard or prisoner. He gave guards no instructions on how to behave. He sat back and watched what happened organically, and what happened, according to Zimbardo, was spontaneous. The guards invented their own cruelty. The prisoners broke down on their own. Human nature revealed itself without any outside pressure. That is the story. Now here is what actually happened. In 2018, French documentary filmmaker Thibault Letexier got access to the original audio recordings and archived documents from the Stanford Prison Experiment. What he found was so different from the official account that he published an entire book about it. Then social psychologist and researcher Scott Alexander published a detailed breakdown, and the picture that emerged was damning. Zimbardo did not simply observe, he actively directed. On the very first night, when the prisoners were relatively calm and the experiment was failing to produce dramatic results, Zimbardo's assistant David Jaffe, who was also playing the role of warden, gave the guards explicit instructions. He told them they needed to be tougher. He told them the experiment required psychological pressure. He told them, in his own recorded words, to create a feeling of powerlessness in the prisoners. This was not spontaneous human behavior. This was a script, and the guards followed it. One guard in particular, a student named Dave Eshelman, has since spoken openly about what he did. He told interviewers that he deliberately invented a brutal persona, an exaggerated Southern accent, a swagger, a cruelty, because he thought that was what the experimenters wanted. He was performing. He knew he was performing, and nobody stopped him because his performance was exactly what Zimbardo needed. The prisoners who broke down most dramatically, several of them have since said they believed performing distress was the correct thing to do in the situation. One prisoner who was released early due to extreme psychological breakdown was later found in the archive recordings laughing with friends about how he had faked his symptoms to get out. But here is the most important part. And this is the part that almost never gets discussed. Zimbardo was not a neutral observer. He was the prison superintendent. He had given himself a role inside his own experiment. He was not watching human nature unfold. He was participating in it, shaping it, directing it, and then presenting the results as though he had simply watched it happen on its own. When a graduate student named Christina Maslach came to observe the experiment on day 5, she was horrified. She told Zimbardo it was wrong. She told him he needed to stop it, and crucially, she later said that Zimbardo himself had changed, that the role of prison superintendent had affected him the same way the guard role had affected the students. He had become so absorbed in the experiment that he had lost the ability to see what he was actually doing. He stopped the experiment the next day, but not before writing up results that presented the entire thing as a clean, controlled demonstration of how ordinary people become monsters given the right circumstances. The study was published. It spread. It became legend. It was taught to millions of students as definitive proof that the situation, not the person, determines behavior, that any of us, under the right conditions, would do what those guards did. And because of that framing, it had real consequences. It was used as a defense in legal cases. It was cited to explain Abu Ghraib. It influenced prison policy, management theory, and the way entire generations understood the roots of human cruelty. All of it built on an experiment where the participants were coached, the results were directed, and the lead researcher was playing a character in his own study. Now, to be precise, the Stanford Prison Experiment did not prove nothing. It did demonstrate that people respond to roles, that institutional structures influence behavior, that situational pressure is real. Those ideas have support from other, more rigorous research. But the specific, dramatic, world-famous results, the spontaneous descent into cruelty, the guards who became monsters on their own, the prisoners who shattered without external pressure, that was not what happened. That was a story Zimbardo needed to tell, and he shaped his experiment until it told it. The most unsettling part is not that the experiment was flawed. Science is full of flawed experiments. The most unsettling part is how long it survived. How many textbooks still include it without correction? How many professors still teach it as established fact? How many people walking around today believe something about human nature that was shaped by a study where the lead researcher told the guards to be crueler and then claimed he never did? You were taught that ordinary people become monsters when given power. What the Stanford Prison Experiment actually proved is simpler and somehow worse. People will become whatever they believe the authority in the room wants them to be, including the authority himself.